Hey everyone, so this video is for making your Blink camera's battery last a little longer. So if you're using your Blink camera for surveillance, the battery is supposed to last for about 2 years, which is wonderful. But if you're using your Blink camera the way I do, which is to monitor bird nests and wildlife and stuff like that, your battery is not going to last very long. So one of the first best ways to fix that is to get a solar panel. So if there's high activity with what you're doing with your camera, just get a solar panel and connect that. If you're in a situation where it's too late, you have the Blink camera installed and you have an active nest, it's better not to interfere with that nest and try and, mount a solar panel and all that. So instead, what I'll do is I'll talk about ways to make sure that that battery lasts you at least that nesting period. So then if there's another brood to come, you can hurry up and install that solar panel and all that. But in the meantime, these are some steps you can take to make your battery last a little longer. So the first thing is that there's a manual monitoring feature with a Blink camera. And that's really important. You don't want your camera just like constantly monitoring, because you're just going to have like constant alerts going off if you have alerts, but you're also just going to have like a lot of footage to go through that really isn't even that interesting. It'll be like the bird turning its head or, preening or something like that. And it's not really all that necessary. So instead, the best thing you can do is daily monitoring, and maybe multiple times a day. That's usually what I try to do. So I usually do the live view, and I turn it on to see how a bird's doing in the morning, how they're doing in the afternoon, and how they're doing in the evening. Some other things is like, you don't want your clip length to be very long when you're doing this. And again, this is to conserve your battery. So if you're a little worried, you don't want like a 30-second clip length, just try to keep it like 5 to 10 seconds. And if something interesting is coming or happening, like something really cute, like the mama bird's feeding her baby or the papa bird is feeding the mom or something like that, you kind of want to see what's going on. Or maybe there was an interesting like call or chirp or something like that, leave it on a little longer for that case. But other than that, just try to keep your clips really short. Sorry, there's a robin up above, and he's just kind of watching me because there is a nest nearby. The next thing is making sure to have like daily progress. So again, like if you're already doing daily capture and morning, afternoon, evening, this is kind of going to go without saying, but it's nice to see like the progress of your nest each day, or the progress of nestlings as they grow daily. And it's nice to have that record too. So for future reference, you kind of know if you were in a situation where maybe somebody else had nestlings and they're like, hey, how old do you think these are? You kind of have a reference, a daily reference to look at and compare. Some other things is like milestones to look for. That's another reason I'll turn the camera on if I'm doing the like manual monitoring, which is basically all I do. I just turn the live view on. So, and I wrote some of these down, but one of the things that I think is kind of fun is documenting the time she comes into the nest and the time she leaves. So what time in the evenings is she coming regularly? What time in the mornings is she leaving? Especially if you have like a winter roosting bird or something like that, it's kind of interesting to see like what's going on there. Is it the time of day that's influencing their behavior? Is it the weather? And it's really cute because I had footage of a chickadee sleeping in one morning. She just did not want to leave like she normally did, because it was very cold, and she kept kind of bringing the moss closer to her body to keep warm in the morning. So that was a lot of fun. It can be really interesting to see things like that. So another thing is like, if you want to like get footage of the parents feeding the babies and stuff like that, one thing is just watching the nest manually, like looking at the nest box. And then waiting to see when they fly towards the box, and then flip that live view on, and you'll be able to get that kind of footage too. So these are the kind of milestones. The incubation period is kind of a fun milestone to catch. So this is where she's sitting on the egg, she's turning the eggs. Those are some interesting moments. Sometimes the mate, her mate will feed her, and that's always kind of interesting. And she'll kind of beg for food and stuff like that. That's always fun to catch. So another milestone would be hatch day. So, you know, if you're tracking when the eggs were laid, you kind of have a good idea of when they should hatch. And so on hatch day, you're going to know, because it's a very slow situation too. You're going to start to see like a little hole happening, and so it's kind of fun to turn the camera on every now and then and see what's going on in the box and how that's working. So some other times I'll turn the camera on is like if there's a really bad storm, I kind of want to make sure things are okay. So like if there was like a loud thunder or like crazy lightning or something like that, I might flip it on. Or if there's hail, and I've seen this before, and there's just hail like pounding and stuff like that, I want to know, is she still in there? What's going on? And like most of the time, the mama bird will hunker down in the nest box and keep her baby safe and stuff like that. So there's no worries there, but it is kind of interesting. Or as the nestlings do get older, the mama may not roost in the nest at night. And so on those times where it is storming, what are the babies doing? Is the mom with them? Sometimes she's not, sometimes she is. And then like the next morning, like when is she coming back to the nest and stuff like that. So, you know, on that situation, like the next morning, let's say mama didn't roost in the box and you want to know that she's okay. So that's when I'll set the setting. Here it is. So I hit the little running man, and when I hit that activates that camera. So that way it goes into motion capture mode, and then hopefully I get footage of her returning to the nest and stuff like that. You know, some other times you might want to check is like right before you go to bed, especially if you're like, oh, there's been like a loose cat, or I know that there's been a raccoon in the yard, so you kind of want to just make sure things are okay. Outside of that, the other thing I'll say is just along with like not having constant motion capture on, one of the reasons that's also important is like on really hot days, that camera will add heat. So making sure that motion capture isn't on will help keep that nest box from getting too hot. And you don't want the nest box to get too hot. You don't want to add heat to your nest box. And so the live view is just the best way to go. So I have been in the situation where the battery has been in the red and the babies were close to fledging, but you know, a few days away still. And so I'm turning the camera on just for like instant quick checks, making sure they're okay and stuff like that. The other thing is, you know, if they're not super close to fledging, it's still safe to open the box and manual monitor. So if you were in a situation where you've like used up all your battery, you can check them. Like that's still like the old-fashioned way still works. When you're doing that, remember like you want to make sure that it's during a period where the parents aren't there. So like if they're actively feeding and stuff like that, just make sure that they're not in the box at the time. Always give the box a little tap to be sure, and then open the box. You're going to check them. You don't want to be there for more than a minute, and you're done. The other thing is I want to say it's at about 10 days. With bluebirds, you don't want to open that box anymore because they become a premature fledge risk. And then once they jump out of the box, there is, I think, a higher chance that they could jump out again. So you don't want that to happen. So they always say, like, don't open the box at about 10 days old. And I think that's about right for chickadees too, because they're getting close to fledging. So, and I'll verify that, by the way. I think it's like 10 to 12 days. I'll double check, and then in the description you'll know for sure. I'll have that listed. Other than that, just, you know, efficiently use your camera. Don't use it for very long. Capture meaningful moments and things that you want to document, and that's all you really need to do. And then after they fledge, just invest in a solar panel. They're about $30. They're really not too expensive. They're totally worth it. They work so well, and I'll have a link in the description for where you can get one that's compatible with the Blink camera. So good luck. If you have any questions, post in the comments below or visit the website, and just hope that helps. Thanks for watching.